Here we go. We back again with episode 8 review. We trying to get in here a little early because last time I don't think last time we did it the right way. It took us too long. But anyway, we're into episode 8. I'm Cool Al, the host Cool Al, and this is my co-host Maria, and we're gonna jump it off like this. Did you want to start with the questions or should I?
I'll start.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so my first question is, why does Bobby have so many names? Because I was confused when they called him Prince Rakeem, because I thought he had another name too. So.
Okay. So, as they show, like, he was born with the name Bobby. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Diggs. That's his government name, as they would say in the hood. You know, the name he was born with. Bobby Diggs. I guess he started rapping at one point and changed his name to Bobby Dynamite, you know, probably when he was a little kid or something. You know, that's questionable. And then, you know, they come into knowledge of self when they become 5%ers and they take righteous names. And so his righteous name was Rakim. He became Prince Rakim as a recording artist, which, you know, was a reflection of his righteous name, Rakim. And that changed into the Resurrector, and it's still the Resurrector, and they cut it short and call it the RZA. But it's for Resurrector, which starts for resurrect, one who resurrects. It also, RZA translates into razor because he's razor sharp with the lines and the beats and everything. And he also DJs. They mentioned that on one of the Wu-Tang albums. So that's pretty much why he has so many names. A lot of the Wu-Tang guys start off the same way. They got their government names, names they're born with. Then they turn into 5%ers, take different names. Then they turn into rappers that take different manifestations. There you have it. Boom.
Okay, second question. There was an issue with his single that came out, and everybody was going to sign it. He was going to sign the records for people, but then they had to pull the records. And so I'm wondering why the record label didn't anticipate that there was a problem until the last minute.
Right. Well, hip hop, you know, started as a movement, and you know, people didn't have a lot of money and a lot of people didn't have classical music training. So you had a lot of kids that were taking records that were made by other artists and scratching them at parties and rhyming over the break beats, and that's how break dancing started. You know, so now what happens is this practice carried on into the early hip hop movement where, you know, it became a business and people were, you know, starting record labels. And so, you know, they had to learn as they went along about the recording industry and about copyrights and infringements. And, you know, by the time Kanye West came along, he was well versed in all the knowledge of that stuff. But, you know, he would take an album and sample it without clearing it, figuring that he was such a big artist, which he was at the time, that he would make so much money that he could pay for the lawsuits. But early on, like when the RZA was starting out, or Prince Rakeem, Bobby, when he started out, he didn't have money. The label probably couldn't afford the heavy lawsuit. You know, they didn't have Kanye's money. Okay. So, you know, a lawsuit was the last thing. So they pulled the record with the I Just Want to Be Free beat song in the background. They had to pull that and re-record it, which wasn't as popular as the one that he stole.
Okay, last question is, does Dennis have any right to be upset with Bobby for his success, or what appears to be his success? So what Dennis came to I think they were recording the video, and Dennis was really upset.
That's an interesting way to phrase that question. I don't want you to change it, but I'm thinking of that question more in like, I mean, because everybody has a right to their own opinion. Bobby has his, and Dennis has his own rights too. And I think it was just a big misunderstanding because Dennis is saying that, listen, if he had shot up your mom's crib, and tried to kill you and your moms and the rest of your brothers and sisters, like I would have been there for you, without question. So why are you not there for me in my time of need? Like, I think both of them have valid points. And to Riz's argument, I could understand how he was kind of caught in the middle. He had friendships with Shah, and he had friendships with Dennis. And me growing up, I've had issues. Let's throw this out there. I've had issues with people in my family. And then there's another person in the family that will co-sign for the person that I'm arguing with. So then I become mad with both of them or more if more people are involved. So this is my solution. People should be more like Bobby in those. Like when two people you care about, family or friends, have a conflict, you do what you can to squash the beef. You don't take sides. Like I think taking sides is wrong, especially if you have love for both parties. You just want to make sure that no one is hurt and you want to intervene as much as possible to keep the peace. Other than that, like, your opinion on who's right and who's wrong, not taking sides, it's a little bit questionable. So I like Bobby's stance. Is that all three of your questions? Okay, good. Let's try to move on. I want to speed through this one. My question for you is, why does Dennis and Shah clash?
Okay. I think I can answer part of this. Well, actually, so this goes back to the first episode, I think, where I don't know. I might need help with this, but I feel like, do they have different areas of where they were selling drugs?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the
Well, it's pretty much the same area, but like a few, maybe a block removed. So like
they have some overlap.
Yeah. But there was two different projects. There was Park Hill, where most of the Wu was from, and then there was Stapleton, where Ghostface is from, aka Dennis. All right.
So anyway, so that seems. So I guess that's the. I mean, and then there was some. Was it Shaw's group that they threw rocks through
Molotov cocktails and tried to burn the drug spot, the stash house down? Yep.
But then he made it. I thought there was a comment made that Dennis started it, or somebody thought. Dennis originally was the one who started it.
So you remember the flashback episode when Devon was saying that him and Power wasn't going to be working together, and he told Ghostface, like, yo, man, it's not a beef. We don't have any problems with them. I mean, well, we have issues, but it's not, to be manifested on a physical level. It's just like we have a philosophical disagreement. He has Park Hill, and I'll take Stapleton, where they used to work as a team. You know what I mean? And he was telling Ghostface that Ghostface was like, if they ain't with us, then they against us, and he wanted to do something. And I think that was an episode in where you see Power's parents got robbed at gunpoint by Dennis.
Right.
And so Bobby even said, yo, you took it upon yourself to make a move on them first.
Yeah, and that's what I couldn't remember, was that first, and then...
Right. So let me go back to that part, though. So then, because I don't think I fully answered your question. So I don't think it was so much that Dennis was jealous of his success. I don't think that he liked the route that Bobby was going in. Like, his art wasn't reflecting the streets. And also, Dennis felt a need to be in the streets in order to feed his family. Bobby felt the need to be in music to feed his family, and those two ideas were clashing. So I don't think that there was a jealousy of success, but I think that Dennis did wish that he could, focus on music, but he felt he had financial family obligations, and you know, what he was doing on the streets was paying off more so than music was. Let's see. Why did the genius, aka the Jizza, have to protect his cousin in episode 8? Labels was the name of the episode.
Okay. I need a little clarification on the names and things because that's something I, not having grown up with these names, I need to like give me the situation.
All right, let's break this down. So, growing up in Brooklyn, you know, we speak of the 5%ers. Like when you have a righteous name or you talk about things from their lessons and you like peace God, when you take on the knowledge that they manifest, you're gonna get quizzed by members of that group of the 5% Nation. And if you don't know what you're talking about, if your wisdom ain't swift, if you don't know how to build, if your knowledge ain't right and exact, you will get beat down. Like they take what they study seriously. You don't play with those lessons. A lot of people have gotten what they call physicals for not doing the knowledge when the God was manifested. So it's something you don't play with. And they kind of showed it in there, and I think it was hype. It was a little bit of hyperbole, but that's very real in New York and other places that the 5% reign. Like, if you're going to speak the knowledge, you better be able to back it up with science and math, or you catch that physical beat down. Okay. And a lot of people, even though they were a righteous group, a lot of people saw them and members in groups like the Zulu Nation as if they were gangs. Now, they were founded in righteous principles. However, the wilderness of North America has people struggling to survive by any means necessary. And some people feel like that's hypocritical, the things that they do with the knowledge they have. I don't think it's any more hypocritical than the government or the church. Look at the Catholic priests and their scandals. I mean, you can be a righteous person. Well, I don't want to say you can be a righteous. You can study a religion all day, every day, and still act like a savage. It's best when you have the knowledge of morality and spirituality, and that is connected to righteousness. Anyway. So, moving right along, why was Prince Rakim dropped by his label?
They said that the record wasn't selling as they hoped it would, which is really interesting because Bobby was basically saying, this doesn't feel right to me, like this is not like the video and he says it's not me, it doesn't feel like it's me. So I mean, I'm not that surprised because people loved him for who he is, and if he's having a record label trying to change that a little bit, then it's not going to be what people even want, maybe.
Right. So, I really like this episode because, like I said, those who know the history of the Wu-Tang know that the RZA had a, not maybe a record deal, but a single deal, and they know that the Jizza actually had an album that came out on Cold Chillin', and they received minimal success because they didn't like the way the label, was marketing them, and so. They went back to the drawing board, and it took a few years, but they formed the Wu-Tang Clan, and they did it their way, and they changed the whole rap game. Something else I wanted to touch on. So, so the Jizza quickly stepped in, back to that question about the genius protecting his country. He quickly stepped in when Just Ice, another 5%er, approached Bobby about the meaning of his name, and he was just like, he knew the math, so he broke down the math, and he was like, I'm trying to enlighten, civilize the 85, teach them the knowledge that they don't have, and it's a process, and he stalled it out and pieced it out so that Bobby wouldn't catch a physical. Like I said, there's rumors that that's um, hyperbole for dramatic effect, but I'm glad they included that because that really does happen in the jails and in the streets of New York. If you claim 5% knowledge, you got to back it up. You got to be able to drop the science and build with math. If you can't, you got to feel the wrath. On that note, my goal was to really keep it short. Hope I did that. And until episode 9, we'll see you on Wu Tang Wednesdays for episode 9. It's coming to an end, I hate to say. But loving what I've seen thus far, and I hope they keep up the good work. All right, deuces.